Welcome to the first day of November 2021. It's a Monday. This podcast being brought to you by Chug Water Chili. They've got some great holiday discounts coming, and to stay ahead of the supply chain curve to help you get your Christmas gifts out early, Chug Water Chili is hosting a month of holiday discounts here in the month of November. Get a new discount each week, and you don't want to miss on these discounts. Talk about some great gift ideas coming up. Chug Water Chili is a great gift idea, not only for the holiday season, but year round. So the first holiday discount, which is going to be available through the 7th of November, is going to be free shipping on orders over $50. So don't forget to go to chugwaterchili.com to take advantage of these holiday discounts. As we take a look at the weather, soupy was a good way to describe it. That's how it was in many areas yesterday, with low clouds, fog. We've had rain, snow, freezing drizzle, freezing rain, as Canadian air has rolled in and is being overrun by Pacific moisture. Now, we do see a trend by the middle to the latter part of the week that will be drier, little warmer, not terribly warmer, but a little warmer. So most of the bad weather this week is going to be today, tomorrow, into Wednesday morning. Not much will be going on this weekend. I think we'll have a fairly quiet weekend of weather. The next stormy period is going to be towards the middle of next week, with the Pacific throwing a pretty strong jet stream wind towards the west coast again, and that could drive a front through by the middle of next week. A possible good pattern is going to develop to help build up early season snowpack as this month of November evolves, and I think that's going to go into December as well, and we'll show you why we're thinking that. First of all, here's the satellite imagery today. Now, it's very subtle to what's going on. We have a colder air mass banked up the Continental Divide like this, going all the way down into northern New Mexico and the panhandles of Texas right now. That's bringing upslope easterly winds, and that's what's causing the low clouds, the fog, the drizzle, the soupy weather. But over on top of that, we have a fetch of Pacific moisture going over and on top of that colder air. And there's going to be an area right here where that collision between the air masses will be the most intense, and that's where the rain and snow is going to be falling today, tonight, and into the day on Tuesday. You can see the northerly flow here pushing that Canadian air mass into areas along and east of the Continental Divide, and then that Pacific moisture trying to get pushed in towards it. As we look at the temperature anomalies for today, this is by noon today. Anywhere you see blue or green, temperatures are well below average for the day, based on 30-year normals. And you can see the displacement relative to normal up here. It's warmer than average, pushing that colder air into the 48 states. And that's how the first half of this week's going to go, with that colder air mass. This is what it looks like through Thursday. Precipitation totals through Thursday show this band of moisture that is basically that collision of air masses from the Pacific to areas along and near the Continental Divide where the colder air is. So the central and northern mountains of Colorado, southern Wyoming, back into the Utahs, the Wasatch Front, northern Wasatch Front, going to get some snow out of this pattern with lighter amounts of precipitation on the plains. Look at British Columbia through the coastal areas of Washington, Oregon, and into northern California here. Just another good fetch of a lot of energy driving into the Pacific Northwest to bring more moisture to those areas. Then you lose a lot of that moisture east of the Cascades, but you're still going to get some there in eastern Washington, Oregon, and into the parts of Idaho, including the Boise area. As we go forward, this is what it looks like snowfall-wise. Not a ton of snow, mainly into the mountains, as this system is not terribly cold, so the snow levels, at least in terms of the significant snow, will be fairly high. But the high country will be able to get a little bit of snow out of this. Now, as we go forward, we do have, by Thursday night into Friday, a little ripple right here. See this guy right here? This is a little ripple that'll bring some snow to Jackson, Yellowstone Park, up into western areas of Montana and into the Bitterroot of Idaho. But it's mainly going to go along the U.S.-Canadian border. And really not much weather is going to happen in this area here as we get to the end of the week and the weekend. Here is the forecast for Sunday morning. A broad ridge of high pressure over the western and central areas of the United States. So while it won't be terribly warm this weekend, it really doesn't look like a bad forecast at all. But as you see up here, you see the blue. We've got a deep trough forming up in the Gulf of Alaska again. And then you see all these black lines closer together. Here we have another really strong jet stream wind developing wanting to nose towards the west coast as we get to the early to middle parts of next week. Basically, this is a pattern very similar to what happened a week ago, when the west coast and parts of the interior west got significant rain and significant mountain snow. That pattern may very well repeat itself towards the middle to the end of next week. It may not be an exact repeat, but it's going to be another weather producer for the western United States. And you can see the jet stream winds getting lined up, driving into the Pacific Northwest coast and western areas of the northern areas of California, then also driving a front and strong moist jet stream winds into the northern and central Rockies. This is by Tuesday night and into Wednesday of next week. We got a really cold pocket of air up over the Gulf of Alaska. And we talked about this before, and we're going to continue to talk about it throughout the fall season. When we look at the sea surface temperature anomalies, there's La Nina, but it's this area right here that's going to be making the weather in November. The contrast between the warm Pacific waters here and the colder Pacific waters up in the Gulf of Alaska. This gradient, the big difference in temperature, makes it very easy. It makes the pattern very susceptible for those strong northern Pacific jet stream winds to develop. Look at the contrast right here. This has been a remarkable change in sea surface temperatures over the last couple of months up here across the northern Pacific. So we've got a big area of colder than average water temperatures here, contrasting with warmer than average sea surface temperatures there. And this is what you get. You get this strong jet stream pattern that's going to go across the northern Pacific and moving into the Pacific Northwest and the northern Rockies towards the middle of next week. And that's going to drive moisture into the northwest United States and parts of the northern and central Rockies. This is why we're encouraged that by the middle to the end of November, we're going to see a round of significant snow in the Rockies and the Pacific Northwest, as well as Western Canada, as well as the Sierra Nevada. This type of pattern, though, doesn't bring a lot of snow to the plains. Notice east of the divide, basically you get a downslope. This is classic La Nina when you go into the winter season or you get the winter season started. Now, we do expect snow will come out onto the plains, but I think what we're going to see towards the middle of the month is more of the mountains getting the snow, with some snow on the plains, but the mountains getting the lion's share. And if you were to look at the 15-day precipitation totals, you can basically overlay the strong, persistent jet stream winds driving into the Pacific Northwest and northern Rockies. So the mountainous terrain right here towards the middle to the end of November could see significant snow, which would be good news for the ski areas wanting to make sure their early season opening dates are hit. And it's also great news for the snowpack in the northern Rockies and parts of the far western United States. With reservoir storages so low and such droughty conditions over the last couple of years, a good snowpack season would do wonders, and it may be off to a good start. So we'll track this as we go in the weeks and the months ahead. Wanted to show you really quick, 15 days out. This is for the 15th of November. What I'm showing you here is a look at the northern hemisphere, bird's eye view looking down to the North Pole here. You see all the blue here? This is basically representing by the middle of the month a very, very large air, a very cold air building over the northern hemisphere. And right here, you've got a large area of some really, really cold. This is, we'll call this VC, very cold air building up towards the middle to the end of November. Why am I showing you this now? I'm just showing you this now so in 3 or 4 weeks, when we start talking about the potential for some really cold weather at the end of November and early December, you know where it's coming from. Have yourself a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.